It's just me. Left hand on him. Distortion. Well, welcome everyone. This is the Chocolate Mountain Show, and I am your refreshed host. 8 Wind is timeless. It all starts with a gentle sadness. I am the Galactic Daddy-O, sitting on my galactic patio from Minnesota to the universe. So thank you, one and all. James, thank you for joining me. Derek, hey, what's happening? The one, Aggie Pride, PJ. That's right. I'm drinking some fine H2O, but pop them if you got them. Smoke them if you want them, for sure. Because I'm always near. Getting over a little sinus infection. Just found out I had it. Because I was wondering, I was just having that bad draining at night. I'm like, why is my throat like this? And then my daughter was like, yeah, we've had sinus infections over here. So, but so fine H2O, treated by shungite, and the Russian told me I'm probably have his shungite powder in a week or so. So I'm about to order some more. Well, thank you, Brad. This is, what's it called? Killer acid. And so, yeah, last couple of days, oh my goodness, like, what was it, Sunday when I went to bed? I slept like 9 hours. I slept 9 hours, and yesterday I slept about the same. So, feel refreshed. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this show at night, five nights a week. And what I'm going to do is the nights I don't work, I'm going to go on days. So I'm going to pick a day in the daytime, and I'm going to switch the show to the day. So I think that's how I'm going to do it. So actually, I'll still be going 7 days a week, but I'll be able to refresh a little bit for a couple nights. So there, where we are. And let me tell you, I've just been the worst father these last few days, just the worst. So Saturday, I forget my daughter from gymnastics. They calling me, oh yeah, we got her. So then today, again, I have dyslexia. So if I get something in my mind, it's hard to flip it. And I get a call from the school. It's like, yeah, the girls are waiting, because they get off early on Wednesdays. So I'm like, So I'm about to jump in the shower. That's how much I had forgotten. I was about to jump in the shower, and then I had to just run up. Well, school's very close. So just doing my best. YT, I've been digging that cat. I just it's funny you mention him because Zach was the first one. Zach had on one of Zach's channels about a year, maybe 2 years ago. He put some of that cat's work out there, and I just recently, rediscovered some of his work. So some of the stuff is I mean, just use your discernment. Some of it appears useful. I remember it was some other things I was like, made me say about. So it's use your discernment. Some of the things. Hey, Jody, thank you for joining me. Oh, PJ. Okay, she says he is legit. Okay, thank you. We had him on the show last week. Oh, wow. Terrific, Jody. So there you go. So again, it was some of the things that, and this was the stuff I've been listening to recently, and it was very, very, let's see, where are we at? Try to find this, because I listened to this a day or two ago. And then this information kind of went along with what my brother had shared as well. Let me see if I can find this. Because he's an older cat now. He's a lot older cat. But just sharing the same things of I guess it's didn't save that. But it's just sharing some of the things on how the church is set up and how the church does think they own your soul. And every soul that's ever born, the document of discovery, which they say everything undiscovered is the church's. Now, the Inquisition is funny. As bad as people talk about the Inquisition being how bad it was in Spain, it was triple worse in America. Because a lot of the Inquisition got pulled off. Matter of fact, the Pope at that time had to pull a lot of them mugs back. It was like, you guys are doing overboard. Well, when Christopher's Cologne goes over there, again, Inquisition. He really, when they found out there wasn't a lot of gold, very quickly they exhausted all the gold that was in Haiti and in Puerto Rico. They exhausted it very quickly. It wasn't a whole lot anyway. Slavery was how Cologne figured he'd make his money. And then Isabella cut off the slavery. She cut it off. She was like, you can't bring slaves over here. And the same way Cortez tried to get around it, Cologne tried to do the same thing. Long as you said they were savages, long as you said cannibal, when in reality, Columbus's men, and Columbus was some of the first to actually trade in the meat trade of humans. Because again, these guys, when they came here, they were used to eating pigs and cows. And when they came to America, it was none of that. So you can find the writings where they talk about killing the people. There's woodcuts that try to show you that they're killing the people and eating them. So, the celestial held by the Vatican. Yep, the celestial sea, yes. Intended to be read as celestial, solar, lunar allegory, and parable based on archetypes, universal symbols of deeper aesthetic truths that have been veiled. That's what Santos. Yes, that's what one of the. He was younger in this when I watched it. I had watched it before, but yeah. And I showed the picture before, and what his true meaning is. Like they say now, the popes won't wear this crap because again, it's telling on who they are. And they like to, hide. But you can find popes that wear this back in history. Now, the newer popes the last few years won't wear this. This is what holds your soul and why they think they own your soul is the Holy See right here. This is a bind. This is why they think they own your soul. And that's why I tell everybody, hey, Haitian, is a modern day Martin Luther. And as I tell everybody, something you have to understand about your spirituality is these mugs, they can go in the ethers. Again, you go into Timothy Leary and the guy that went in the wrote Be Here Now. I mean, they couldn't take this other stuff. They couldn't lick the frog, they couldn't take the mushrooms, and they couldn't get there. So they chemically found the chemicals, how to make it artificial. And they started being able to go in there. And so you can't be surprised if you go to the etherical realm or the astral realm, know that they monitor this. So, you know, where people tell you if you breathe and do yoga and all that, that you have a clear path, you got to understand it's enemies in there too, that you have to have the proper protection. I told you, something tried to attack me last week. It shook this whole building, but my protection stayed up. I felt the force, but I was not harmed in any way. So something I put together is right. But on the other hand, if you look at the Tsar world can interrupt that. So these sisters do something they don't like. These sisters got something for them. They don't like these sisters for some reason. These sisters was catching a lot of European souls. So it's something about them they don't like. So, and it can interrupt all that. So you're right about the boxing rounds. Respect. Thank you. Yeah, it was 80. Yep. They changed it in 80. But I was just watching Ali, and they made all three of their fights go to 15. It's like Ali was about to knock Joe Frazier out in round 2, and they stopped it. They literally stopped him from fighting. Then they said, oh, he thought he heard the bell. No, the ref is looking at somebody in the audience who's telling him, stop it. And they don't let Ali, and Ali has to take punishment because, again, he has to fight. No, I'll take that back. The second fight was 12 because the second fight was I believe it was titled North American Championship. So the second fight was 12, but the two title fights was 15. That's hard on you. I mean, you look at the Thriller in Manila and Joe's face. I mean, you think Joe's face was beat up in the first fight. You know, and Joe was blind in one eye. So, what's the name of the book again? Oh, I'm sorry. This is Wombs and Alien Spirits. And her name is, because this is a class book. Bodhi. Her name is Bodhi. Her name is Janice Bodhi. Now, I know a lot of it has to deal with blood and the blood moving. And it's, let's be honest, you know, some of these spirits that come out of the ass, come out of these animals' ass. So what kind of spirit do you think can that help you or not? I mean, really. But for what they do it with, what they use it for, it works. But you don't need the blood. Again, there's a small bit, and I've been trying to find this part. And I don't mind reading the book again, but it looks like the only way I'm going to find this small little part. But it talks about one of the people that Czar, through her, saw what kind of cigarettes she smoked in America, the movie theater, her apartment, described everything. Because she had went back. Matter of fact, it was like she went back in the past when the chick was in America. Because a year or two, she was in the Sudan with them people. So this chick went, see, and that's the bad about the Czar. She went in the past and went through the experience. And so that's why this Czar stuff, again, I've talked about experience with me. They gave me something, and I had been into, and I'm gonna say I was probably more in the etherical realm, and there was a big billboard there, and I noticed it and recognized it, and I don't think that was enough. So one day I'm in there, and the door just opens in front of me, and it's one of these sisters handing me, and she had her hair done different, which I noticed too, but she handed me what was on the billboard. She handed me, and I've always said that I am part of a type of candy-like people. And it was some information from them, but the Czar person handed it to me. It's like, you didn't recognize that enough when we showed it to you. So we gave it to you. So you got to watch Mr. Astrology video. I focus meeting the first one. Okay. I'll check that out. What are lucid dreams? Lucid dreams are dreams that you can have control over, but it's more detail. You have a lot more detail in the dream. Like you have to, first of all, figure out, do you dream in color? A lot of people I talk to say they dream in black and white. They don't even dream in color. So a lucid dream is a very vivid dream, but it's a vivid dream that you can have full control in. I mean, there's two instances. There was like one instance, I was actually in the ethereal realm, and I thought I was lucid dreaming though. And once I realized that I wasn't lucid dreaming, I was like, oh, this is real. I remember telling myself, I was like trying to see if I was dreaming. And I was like, oh, this is real. And so I ran to see where the boundary was, and I started going inside. So that's what it is. Hey, Unique Breed, thank you for joining me. I really don't like the NFL Combine. Don't you think it's slavery? I mean, it is, but it's. I mean, how else? It's publicity. It's publicity for the would-be athlete. It's publicity for the league. So I don't know. Hey, Dread, thank you for joining me. Brandon is a woman slapper with his sellout patent, astigmatism glasses, and teaching to train kids in 5 minutes. Disappointing Santos with that one. Okay. That was a couple of things that I saw that he did that I didn't agree with. But, you know, it's discernment. It's like, don't agree with everything I talk about. It's discernment. I've seen a lot of owls lately. Are they guides or watchers? Let's see. Let's see. Let's see if this is in here. See what this says. See if I can get a little. I just put this book by me too. Let's see what this says before I give you an answer. Not it. Wow, they didn't put that in here. Interesting. Maybe because it's under something else. Let's see. Let's see if it's under something else. Oh yeah, it is under something else. Okay. Might be right here. Oh, right here. So it could represent your intuition or your ability to really see what is going on around you. It can be an advisor, association with darkness. It can maybe suggest fear or danger. So it could be even a symbol of death. That doesn't necessarily mean your death. Oh, symbolic death. Yeah. So it could be a type of symbolic death or something coming to an end, or you're going through a transition. So just a few of those things. Could be just a few of those things. Mag bone means a Mac that has the balls and backfire. I think I'm gonna do an unveiling. I'm gonna do an unveiling with everyone. Do an unveiling. Oh. And so I haven't even opened it yet. I have not even opened it. Well, I don't have the case for it, or well, I have a charger, but I'm waiting for my case to come. But I'll share this with everybody. So I was in no hurry really to get a phone. It's just my other phone was gonna die. I'm thinking about giving it to my daughter, but I'm gonna have to do a lot to it. I think the motherfucker's silver. That's some shit. I don't think they give you headphones or none of that shit. But this was the second shipment. This was the second shipment. Well, I guess the motherfucker's silver. So I guess it's silver. Pro Max. This was just a protective cover. And they don't give you, they don't give you the block anymore. They don't give you headphones anymore. I'm pretty sure that's all that's in this motherfucker. And so I'm hesitating because I got a lot to change from Google to this is going to take a lot. So I guess that's silver. So just unboxing this with y'all. And I'll tell you though, these motherfuckers cost like a goddamn. These motherfuckers cost. They cost. Let's see. They cost like a damn used car because these motherfuckers are not cheap. They ain't fucking cheap. I'll tell you that. But this other one is dying. So no, the 13 ain't coming out for about 4 more months. That was my only wait too. I'm like, get this or wait. But the other phone is dying. Thank you. I don't know about that. I don't know about that, Greg. What's the topic? There's never a topic. I never have a topic. I just go. Thank you. Small computer. You said that right. I never really have a topic. You know that. You know that, Edward. The topic is there is no topic. I'll say this though. So we have a chick playing Aretha Franklin on Lifetime or maybe Oprah's channel. And again, it's another British person playing her. Her name is Evo, maybe. Thought I wrote. Oh, yeah, Cynthia Evo, and she's English. How often are we getting that? We're getting all these English people playing American characters. She's playing Aretha, so that's more blackface. I guess I'll start with tonight's topic on Snowfall. So we had the return of Wanda is what I called it, because Wanda is calling in the good grave. Scully tried to hit Leon, even though Leon really didn't have nothing to do with the shooting. Leon and them hire a private eye, and the private eye shows them again. See, when they hired the private eye, if you ever read the book about the Iceman or Joey, he tells how he would just follow people and learn their habits. He talks about killing this pimp, and the pimp at the end of the day, at the end of his day, almost said the spell, at the end of the pimp's day, he always went to this one girl. And so the Iceman or Joey found, started following that pattern. And that's where he killed the dude. And so that's what they used that. And so, so later, well, just to go on. So what they're trying to do, Saint is trying to start, he's doing money laundering. They're trying to buy up properties and trying to clean up the money. Again, that goes into The Godfather. Remember, he said by 10 years we'll be legit. And so that's going into that. Money laundering, using other boule people to money launder. One thing about Reed they showed interesting, Reed got hit with 2 or 3 bullets. And the bullets, again, a bulletproof vest, it could knock the wind out of you. It could break your ribs, depending where it hits. But it was interesting. It showed the bruising from getting hit with bullets with his vest on. They mention all these other officers and stuff, but they really are trying to make it look like it was just one rogue person in the U.S. moving all these millions of cocaine, getting all these millions of dollars for arms and everywhere, and bringing them into the Nicaragua. I mean, that's kind of the feeling you want to get when we know that's a lie. Now, one thing interesting that they did, again, the Japanese woman is playing Gary Webb's character. I don't know why they didn't just let a European man be Gary Webb, but she's being Gary Webb's character. But there's another person they introduced tonight, and maybe I have to look again, but they're both being Gary Webb's character. it was like a guy that looked like Gary Webb. They kind of brought him in. And so that was interesting. And of course, the ending of the shootout, they ended up killing the little girl, which I think kind of represented, maybe that was a little later. I was going to say, look at the little, like, it kind of reminded me of the girl who got killed in the store leading up to the riots in LA. That's what it reminded me of. That was a feeling I got that they were trying to portray, really. But that's what they tried to show through the violence, that the child got killed in the end. But they really highlighted Wanda, because as they was trying to kill Leon, again, Wanda's the one that warns him. And then Wanda gets shot saving him, and then Leon pays money for Wanda's bills to get detoxed and everything. And they haven't brought back the girl who shot Saint. They only brought her back once so far. But I've got a feeling this Gary Webb character is going to connect with her to try to, it's going to blow the lid off everything, and it's going to end up Iran-Contra. I'm trying to think of, hide the messenger, kill the messenger, the movie on Gary Webb's book. The Ricky Ross character, Gary Webb he gets to interview him, and he's like, the Gary Webb character is showing the real Rick Ross was like, hey, who is these dudes to you? And he's like, well, no, he said, well, these are all agents. And he's like, there's no ways these dudes is agents. This is who I'm getting this stuff from. And so that kind of showed what Gary Webb, he was on the right track. And then Gary Webb goes down into South America and interviews all these people. And we know that Gary Webb ends up, they say he committed suicide, but the way he was shot, you couldn't have killed yourself. But it ruined his life. I mean, he got all these praises at first in New York. These newspapers run by Soros and them. They discredited him. All the East Coast newspapers discredited him. And then his own paper discredited him. But, comes out he was absolutely right. I know a lot of people might not be old enough to remember when they put Oliver North's ass on the hot seat. And you had Ronald Reagan and his wife saying, just say no, but they were the biggest cocaine dealers of their time. So put that one out there. Who did I miss? Normalizing deflated lungs. Mini office, yes. Deflated lungs. Peace chat, hey. It could deflate your lungs. Hey, so if any of you, I'm sorry if I spoiled it, but that was kind of that breakdown. Not too much else I wrote down. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I did want to put this out there too. Okay. Like one thing you got to really also see, and this is like anytime you see the doubles, like even the Foo Dogs, you see Cain and Abel, you see Osiris and Seth. These are all stories copied about the hero twins. All of them are plagiarized from the hero twins. And they're all, other than the Foo Dogs, they're all, again, brother against brother. Because this piece doesn't like the idea of the brothers fighting together and fighting everything. But you got to know the difference between Foo Dogs and Talak. So I wanted to get that out there. And remember, that's what it is. We fight with our brothers. So just study a little deeply. Oh, okay. And then today, what went by is Miles Leonard. I know a lot of people may not even know who Miles Leonard is. I saw him hoop a couple of times because he hooped with Portland. And Miles Leonard, now he's a journeyman NBA player. And Miles Leonard has been kicked around the NBA, but now he's with the Heat. So Miles Leonard was playing late last night. He was playing Call of Duty late last night. And Miles Leonard is trying to kill someone in Call of Duty. And he's like, die, fly a kite, die. He didn't use the kite. He said the other word. But he's saying die, fly a kite, die. And this morning, he got reported to the NBA. Now, of all the land and he said he didn't know what the word meant. He applied it in the proper way, but he's in Miami too. And who lives in Miami in the wintertime? You couldn't get, it's like roaches almost. You couldn't not find them if you didn't want to. So you're in Miami and you're using that kind of language. So he is he's removed from the team. This cat got removed from the team. So, but Miles Leonard, wow. So if you guys heard about him, and that's why I did that video where they had and right, the sister they showed, she's from Africa too. She has a twin sister, either a twin sister or they're very close in age. I want to say it's a twin sister though, but again, they use the black face to show the anger of the Jewish faith people. The Jewish faith people are wrong, and what do? They throw a black face out there. The same thing when Nick Cannon said that. Wiley was on there. That was back when the fat dude was still on the show. Wiley was like, well, he needs to talk to people that study this and do this. But again, why are you defending? Why do you feel, and why would you take orders from people to tell you to defend that? Well, we know Wiley's from Colombia, and he's more than likely part of the CIA. Because the CIA has sports personalities too, you know. So, and today we know that they passed this stimulus. A lot of people that make 100,000, and this let me tell you the embarrassment. If you admit you got it, to getting the stimulus money, you're admitting you make less than $75,000 a year, which is not a lot anymore. It's not a lot anymore. Still decent, but not a lot. You're not making $75,000 being rich. And what is it for the total household? 160,000. So if you both make 81,000 a year, you can't get the money. So that got passed today, which, yeah, it's no way inflation doesn't hit us. It's no way. Again, watch the dollar. So again, gasoline here, you have to find the 360s, but a lot of places is 385. So that's $67, $68 a barrel. And let's see what the other currencies stopped at today. I know gold went up. Gold was down yesterday to 1,600. So gold was 17 today, closed at 1,700 today. Silver closed at roughly 27. Silver was up because I know silver was down to 25 something. Here it says up 24 cents. It closed at 25 yesterday. I caught that. And then the cryptos is 55,000. Remember, it was 49,000 last week. Then it dropped down to 36,000, and now it's at 55,000. So those of you that and it's like across the board. And matter of fact, it's low. It actually was down from the day before. I didn't pay attention yesterday. So just pass that on. Just passing that on to everybody if you mess with it. Cowboys going to Super Bowl. Yeah, that chick that shot Saint, she hit the pipe once and was right. Exactly. It's like she got high for a day and she was gone. She was gone. Yep. Cowboys is, let me see. I think they see shot in the head twice. Yeah, Gary Webb was shot in the head. Yeah, that chick. Yep. Cowboys going to Super Bowl 56. So obvious after that Dak signing, done so many numbers on it. Oh, Sosa, interesting. Why do we have schools? Which context do you mean? Schools are Prussian. We go to school in the Prussian style, if that's what you mean. Or do you mean schools far as why are we having school when people are sick? You got to give me some context. Greg, he might be done. Anti-Semitic. Yeah, he's probably done, Greg. I wouldn't. He was a journeyman anyway. Yeah, they got it anti-Semitic again, and they don't want to come. Edelman is their watchdog now. Edelman, every time, if it's something to do with that, Edelman is the go-to. What are they going to do? He about to retire. He old. Benefits and privileges, public versus private. There you go. Hey, Lorenzo, how would you invest your 1,400 to make more money when if you were back in the day? Well, what they're afraid of is people getting into Bitcoin. They're afraid of that. They're afraid of people going into apps like Robinhood and just taking off. See, this is what they want. They want people to be uneducated and just blow their money. But they find in the last couple of times they gave it, people was investing money. And so right now, gold and silver, you can't really miss with that. And it can't buy a whole lot, but it can buy enough. It can buy you enough. Because again, you don't have to get a whole thing of gold. You can get some small coins. And so those are things that you're gonna be able to trade. And I say gold and silver over other things is because say the grid goes down, this stuff right here would be at a trade. I mean, it'll be a point where if it's starving and I'm trying to buy food, I can cut out links of this and I can go to somebody and give them some links. However long these links would last me, I could still trade part of this. See, and that's the bad thing about Bitcoin. If it's but investing instead of just blowing the money, investing. Put something into your house. Take that money and put something, do an improvement in your house if you own a home. There's so many ways. And that's what they don't like, that a lot of people are getting smarter. I mean, the old joke about poor athletes getting into money. Look at how they're going to spend. Whereas the smarter investor or a person that comes from money, he's going to look at how he's going to reinvest his salary. So I would say invest in yourself and invest a little bit in your future. Me, I'm going to buy some gators. So you can never go wrong with gators. If the world is ending and zombies are chasing me and I'm wearing gators, I'm going to look down at my gators and I'm going to feel satisfied. So I'll be waiting for Bitcoin to dip down and buy, plus I am buying more stocks. Yeah, and stocks isn't a bad thing either. Stocks is not a bad thing as well. So that is the thing about Robinhood and those kind of apps is you can, I remember Lenny Dystra, and even though he got caught being a crook in stocks and hedging stocks, and I think he's still in jail, but one thing that he hit me to when they interviewed him, he had like 3 monitors. And then if you watch people with the money, that's what they had 3 monitors. There's a guy, when I was picking up my son when he worked from around the corner, there was a guy we would see working every night. And I always wondered what was he doing in this business building 10 o'clock. And then it hit me. This dude was opening up the trading markets when Europe hit. I'm pretty sure that's what he was doing. He was setting up when the early markets, and he was probably checking everything that's coming tomorrow or the next day. Because every night he'd be leaving like 10:30. By the time I'd pick up my son coming back, he'd about be leaving. And I'm pretty sure that's what he was doing, was getting the stocks caught up coming into tomorrow. So you can, but I was saying with Deister, like you can have the different monitors. You can get it on your phone. You can watch your stocks on your phone. So it's a lot. So invest on what you need to invest in is my point. Okay. Let me show you. Got another goodie. Yeah. Let me show you another one of my goodies. So I love discount books because I always pop in there. I didn't get this one discounted, but been studying this stuff. Again, the beast doesn't love Solomon. Solomon has nothing to do with the beast. But pick this one up. And Boladian Library. So you've seen a lot of the formulas and whatnot. This book was pretty new. This book was brand new, I'm pretty sure. But this book was 60 some bucks. I got it for 20. And that book, to buy a single book for 20 is pretty good. So, and it's called Angels, Demons, and Spirits, but it's out of the Bodleian Library. So just started reading that book because I study it all. Cash App only. Robin Hood is a no-no. I know I tried to hit a chick. I wanted to buy this stone. She had some kunzite, and kunzite is expensive. And she had a polished piece that was huge. And she only wanted 30 bucks. And kunzite is expensive. And I was jumping all over that. And I was like, do you have Cash App? And she was like, no. PayPal. And she was like, Facebook money? I'm like, yeah, I'm not fucking with Facebook money. So I missed out on the piece. Because I don't just do PayPal for anybody. I always wondered why LeBron and Kobe wouldn't start their own brand from the ground up without partnering with Nike. Well, it's like one problem that you got to understand is with the shoes, see, like even now, there's a shoe, how is it? It's so you can design your own shoe. They talk about 3D printing, but the problem is you can order the shoe and then you can 3D print the rest of the shoe. But the shoes, the problem with the shoes is the shoes are made off of one die. That's the hardest part. And that's the part that Balls and them came up with problems with. I'm pretty sure Fila had that same problem. Again, with the sucky shoes that Fila made, that Grant Hill tried to hoop in. You know, Grant Hill should have had his own shoes made and not the shoes that was sold to everybody. He should have had a better shoe, but he wasn't smart enough at the time. So that's the hardest part. Even Wear Testers talks about that, how he has he had a shoe made, but again, it's all going to have a lot of that same sole. You only have so many soles you can choose from. Now, it makes me wonder what has changed because, again, I had a lot of friends, and I had a friend bring me back a pair of shoes from Korea. It was just a pair of Adidas, and he brought me back a pair of Adidas, but made in Korea, and they look just like the pair. I know a lot of people would get the suits and the jackets, like the silk jackets that say Korea, and that shit would fall apart. But these shoes were pretty rugged for a number of years. And it made me wonder, what kind of soles did they have in them at the time? Because I know it's a problem now. So that's the problem why they didn't start with the shoes. Again, remember, the Nike that you see now wasn't the Nike that was Michael Jordan. Nike was behind Adidas and Converse at the time. I mean, when I started going to school my senior year in 79, we all switched shoes and I got the Dr. J's instead of getting the Nikes. But I know when you bought the Nikes, they came with the poster. And so the Dr. J's would have probably been a little more popular. I kind of look back, I should have kept the leather Pro Kids. I got suckered into returning my Pro Kids, and they were actually a lighter shoe, a better shoe. As a matter of fact, I wore canvas Pro Kids as a senior. I put cushions in them, Dr. Soles in them, and they didn't tear my legs up as much. So I didn't even wear a leather shoe my senior year in school. And actually, my legs did pretty well, a lot better than wearing the Converse that I was forced to wear in 10th grade. It gave me horrible shin splints. Almost, it's just like one season of playing in Converse was the only season I ever played in them, and they literally destroyed my legs. My uncle used to get those shiny suits and jackets from Korea when I was a child. Yeah, you would see them shiny. But the suits, I remember one of my partners that got a suit, and we was out somewhere, and them hems, he thought he was pulling a string down, and yeah, it pulled all that crap around his arm. So very cheaply made. It was silk, but it didn't stay together. I bet you dropped a triple-double in them canvas joints. Oh, man, high school, yeah. Like I'm trying to think of what shoes I wore because my best game was my junior year. I mean, I had a couple games my senior year because my overall average in high school was I averaged 16 points a game, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists. But my best game was 30. I scored 30 when I was a junior. And I've told this story before. One of the dudes that I dropped 30 on was rated one of the best players ever, and he was a year over than me. And he's 6'7", 6'6". So if I drop 30 on him, what'd that make me? At 10th grade, again, I was probably the third best player in 10th grade, and I should have been on varsity. Coach had a son on varsity, and I'm sure that's why he looked at me. It was 2 of us that should have actually started on varsity, and he kept us on JV. And so, but yeah, so my best game in JV, I probably averaged 20 something as a JV player, and at least 10 rebounds. Used to have my stats because, again, my brother kept all my stats all 3 years, something that he just liked. He found out what a stat book was, and we bought him one, or I think the JV coach might have gave it to me. And my brother kept all my stats, so my brother kept all my stats. So yeah, that used to be a thing. But my legs, and that's why college basketball would have been hard for me to just constantly be on that court. Playing football, grass is a different story. Now we at A&T, the one he probably doesn't remember, but our field we had a rough practice field because when they were building a new stadium where we practiced my freshman year, they put us on the other, like it was just at one time it was just a big open field and it had a football goalpost. And then they built the stadium there. It was like a big open field where we practiced, and you looked like inside the fence was a small little place where it looked like it hadn't changed from the 40s and 50s. The shit where I had to change my football equipment was where people in the 40s and 50s changed their football equipment. We did not have hot water in there. So if we had a muddy day, we pretty much had to wear our uniforms back to the dorm because we didn't want to fuck our clothes up to take showers back in the dorms. That was how ghetto A&T was. But this field, again, they started the year we won the Gold Bowl was when they was building the stadium. So we had to walk by the stadium, but they put us in this other part, and that part was really hard and stuff. So it was kind of rough on our legs then, but again, it's running on grass. 30 points off of mid-range buckets. That's pretty much what it was too. Now, I'll tell you what it was. Is my one of my best friends and I was playing. We had played horse all week, and he could not make the mid-range bank shot. And I was killing him all week. We was playing horse. Like, I don't know, some reason we was just playing horse, and he couldn't make that shot. So I'd be on both sides and just killing him. So we get in the game. He was the 2 guard. He feeds me the ball in the same spot. He probably had 15 assists, at least 10. And he kept feeding me the ball. And again, I was kind of running center because our center liked shooting J's from the top of the key. I like to play in the post mostly. And yeah, he was giving me the ball where that spot where I practiced all week, that little bank, he was giving it to me. And I was just killing him. I was just killing him right there. And I've said 2 years in a row, the game started like this. So the first play of the game, Ricky Duvall gets the ball. He's head faking me. Ricky couldn't dunk. So I know he couldn't out jump me. Head faking me. I'm not going it. It's about 3 seconds, buddy. You're going to have to go up. And he went up, and I just pinned it on the backboard. Go a year later, first game of the year again, me and him are in the same position. He's head faking me. He knew the outcome wasn't going to be any different. And again, he tries to shoot it on me in the exact same spot. I pinned this stuff again. Small town. Kalamazoo. I don't know. We had about 10 high schools, something like 10 high schools in Kalamazoo. I watched. Do you think they had Magnet system in 59? I don't think so. I really don't think so. I'll tell you why. Not to say dudes can't shoot, because watch a game from, especially watch college games in the 40s. Watch college games in the 40s. You go back early in the 40s, it's a whole different looking game, because at one time, like when John Wooden, and I know some people may not know who John Wooden was, but one time the game of basketball was played after every basket, you had a jump ball. So if you had a tall dude, you could tip it to your team and keep the ball the whole game. But if you watch the game going in the 40s, you see dudes that didn't shoot jump shots. Dudes actually could throw hook shots. So where you seeing a wing shot, dudes was hooking and making them consistently. So I'm never saying dudes can't score, but before, okay, yeah, this is where I want to go with it. See, but what saved pro basketball is making them shoot, because when pro basketball started, the games was 10-8 because they were just stalled. They would just stall the ball, and so the low score. So that's why they put the shot clock in there. But if guys could pretty much make it hooking, you know that. So we had an infinite game. I don't think they had the technology then either, because we don't see the first modern use. And if I don't even know if looking at a game from 1969 is modern use, because we look up the games in 1969 and again used again in 1970. If you look at that jump until it was in full use in 1985, that's a pretty big jump. And so even through the 70s, looking at shots, another shot we might have to add is Garfield Hurd's shot. I didn't even think about that till now. I'll write that down. Garfield Hurd's shot might have been 74. Field Hurd shot against Phoenix. Because Westfall, who just died, Westfall was with Phoenix, and Westfall called timeout. And this was Phoenix. This is Phoenix. Might have been the finals between Phoenix and Celtics. And Hurd, he hits a deep, almost on the sideline shot. That shot, probably we should look at that shot. That shot might have been used as well. But the old system, you didn't see him being able to use it a lot until what got my attention again is Georgetown versus Villanova when they shot 71%, which is impossible. It's impossible. Scott Jansen made 21 points. A dude who averaged 2 or 4 points in the season was something like 7 for 7, 8 for 8. He made a bit. He was the difference in the game. But I mean, as a team, they shot 71%. So that is when I first noticed it being used full time. Full time was that game to me. That was when they were first using it. Now, and used in '85 in the NBA. I'm trying to think of when the 3-point shot was put in the NBA was 70. See, the leagues merged in 77, 78 season. So I'd have to look up when the NBA adapted the 3-point line. I really have to look that up. What year did the NBA adapt the 3-point line? 79. So it wasn't until 79. Yeah, so it wasn't until 79. I still think Hurd shot was the system used Hurd shot. So 79. Okay, so Georgetown game might have been 86. 80, yeah. So it's saying that 3-point, they didn't have the 3-point in 86. No, that can't be right. Because Ralph Sampson was a little older than me, and they with Jared Wittenberg. So it says right here, the 3-point, the NCAA universally didn't implement it. Okay, it says universally, but they was using the 3-point line because that's how they hampered Ralph Sampson. So it was used. So if we look at 79, 80, yeah, so we're still operating on maybe 1 or 2 shots the whole games up until it looks like 80, 85 season is when the full system. So, and looking at the system, it didn't appear in a game until Danny Green, when Danny Green was playing with LeBron, against LeBron with the Spurs, and Danny Green made 7 or 8. That is when you see it, to me, was used, implemented the most, was that game. So that would have been 8, 9, somewhere in there. So when you see it fully implemented all the time, and of course, going back to Curry's college and pro experience, were all under that system. So read that scouting report. Y'all had a 15-man roster. Wow, wow. I'll tell you, my scrapbook is like I keep it in the drawer, but it was seasons. I think when I was in 10th grade, the varsity kept that many people. They kept that many people. Not everybody played, but they kept that many people. Up here in Minnesota, check this out. Up here, they have, since things have changed, maybe not, but they used to have freshmen, JV, and a sophomore team. So sophomore team was a different team than freshman and JV. But if you play sophomore, you could play freshman. You could play, of course, if you could play freshman, you could also play sophomore. So football, you got to play 2 games if you wanted to. And then they have varsity. But if you play JV, you dress varsity automatically. So even if you're on the JV team and don't play, you still get to sit on the varsity bench during the games. That's how they do it here. Most towns don't do it that way. Michigan, we didn't do it that way, but here they do it that way. So yeah, that's not unheard of. Yeah, Wilton Russell got to play the game pure. I think so in so many ways. I mean, again, the calls. Russell had a lot of the better players. Wilt didn't have a lot of the better players. So I think Wilt suffered from that as well. But it was scripted for Russell. It was scripted a lot for Russell. Russell wasn't near the athlete that Wilt was, but they made Russell the all-time winner, which was another slap in Wilt's face. Wilt only won 2 titles. Russell has won the most out of anybody. And that's why I just wondered, do they want to push Tom Brady till he's 50? But just like they're saying they're shooting, one game had 93s in it. They're averaging 60 something or something like that. So the threes, that is for all the people that do basket manipulation, this is where we're hurting them because we're opening these people's eyes up. That's why I surprised all the half-court shots in the All-Star game. I don't know if that was scripted. I think they was just doing that on their own. I mean, again, the league agreed to let them go in or help them go in, but people are starting to see that this ain't realistic. It's not realistic. Curry is only shooting 40%. So how does he shoot 70 or 80% in the All-Star game? How do you double your percentage of consistency? Doesn't work that way. And again, keeping the little players relevant. Only militant person I know that like hockey. Yeah. Not only that, check this deal out. The deal Disney got with the NHL. So on ESPN and ABC, guaranteed 25 games, exclusive games. So, only national game. But that wasn't the gravy. The gravy was they're going to have 75 exclusive games on Hulu and ESPN Plus, which I thought, because like right now I was going to get rid of my NFL Network and all that, but I looked at it would erase all my hockey channels. I mean, I watch hockey every night, literally every night. I watched, how I'm a good mood because I just won $200 on the Wild holding off Las Vegas. Yeah, where the last week they didn't hold them off. So they held them off, but yeah, they got a hell of a sweet deal. So they're forcing people to get ESPN Plus. I mean, ESPN already has I have 4 or 5 ESPN channels. Now I got to pay for ESPN Plus. But yeah, that's what they did. And then the NBA, was it the NBA or the NFL that chopped the salary cap? I want to say it was the NBA, or maybe it was, I want to say it's the NBA that chopped their salary cap, or maybe it's the NFL. The salary cap went down. And of course, Dak got all that money. They put Dak, who's never won anything, but yet he's the number all time getting paid. But I think Dak has still got a year on his rookie contract. So I don't think that contract will kick in till next year or year after. But he'll get a nice bonus for signing it. Remember that. He'll get a bonus for signing this new deal. Like McCaffrey, they restructured his deal. They just gave him more money up front. But remember, Dak is going to get a bonus. They might not report how much this bonus is, but for signing that contract, that's a bonus. That's in the NFL CPA. So yeah, Damon Curry, in my opinion, was trying to expose the magnet. You could be right. You could be right. But again, they had to agree. They had to agree with it. And it outshines the big guys, though. I mean, you can almost see them trying to put the big guys out of the league. This is how ridiculous it is. They were talking about Tony Tucker or Tucker that plays for Houston, that the Timberwolves was going to offer this dude. What is that dude, about 80 years old now? Tucker's got to be 80 years old. Who talking about the Timberwolves would give a first round pick for him? I'm like, in what dimension? No way anybody would give up on that dude. That dude 80 years old. but you could be right, Derek. You could be right. It could be part of that too. It could be part of that. I wondered that myself, but a lot of people was worrying. It's like this is not believable. It makes it not look believable, at all. So, and that's why we're gonna keep watching and watch with some intelligence, because it's all just entertainment. That's what all of them are. Did anybody check it? Yeah, PJ Tucker. Yep. Thank you, PJ. Yep. And everybody else see, they're talking about the Canadian League is going to merge with the XFL, because there's only 6 teams in Canada playing. And you can only play 6 teams. You know, you're talking about trying to get a season out of playing. I mean, how long can your season really be? You playing the same team. And now people do back the G League. People do back semi-pros, but I mean, eventually people would get bored. Now, one thing they tried to do with the USFL, they tried to merge the USFL. No, let me take that back. So the USFL cancels. So the USFL got canceled in '84 season. And the Baltimore team, if I remember right, the Baltimore team played in Canada. I think it was the only time Canadian League had an NFL or American team in their league. The Baltimore team played in the Canadian League, I want to say 84, 85, somewhere in there. So it'll be close to that, because again, the Canadian football is dying, and the XFL merging with them, if they open Canada back up, would be a good thing to keep that thing going. Canadian League is older than the NFL. They've been a pro league longer than the NFL has been going. And the Canadian League offered brothers from the, I read a story a week ago about a brother that they wouldn't let him play quarterback in the NFL. So he was traded to Canada. One thing in the movie North Dallas 40, they talk about this guy did something. So they're like, well, ship him to Canada. And back then, hearing that, I didn't understand. But reading about this brother, that he could be traded to Canada, they had been doing that. They blackball a player. Would give you no choice if you wanted to play, make you play in Canada. Again, they made Warren Moon go to Canada. Chuck Ely made him go to Canada, because the NFL weren't giving these brothers. I mean, when Moon came back, he was older. He was 27, 28. That's why Moon played until he was 60. 8 win. Why would they give him beat a map and a ring this year? Woke. Yeah. Okay, they didn't play again today. What did I get out of that? I didn't write it down. I figured it out earlier. They did not play again today. They didn't play again today. They didn't play. Okay, and they didn't play in the All-Star game. I see that pattern as saying, okay, we're holding you back from the All-Star game, giving somebody else your spot. But already the odds, did y'all see that all day? They saying now Embiid is the favorite to be MVP. So before the All-Star game, LeBron was the top favorite. Embiid ain't played a couple games before the All-Star game. So how did Embiid's numbers go up to be the MVP? They did. They went up today. The odds are on him. So I still think I'm still going to. Oh, and they did the Rudy Gobert story. They did his story, in which again, no father. His mother is 5'5". He's 7 foot. No father. No mention of father. Now, they don't say who. When he gets drafted, there's some brother with his mother. Mother's French, so some African dude with his mother. But him, they don't say who his father is. But they highlighted his story. So I'm sticking with the Sixers and Jazz. I'm still sticking with the Jazz. The Sixers and the Jazz, with the Sixers winning. With the Sixers winning, which in a way would still be a Will Chamberlain, Dr. J kind of tribute. Don't forget Dr. J. It'd be a Dr. J tribute too. And remember, Dr. J was in that thing about the dunking. What did he say? The Mount Rushmores of the dunkers. And for those of you that, the best move ever shown ever was the Dr. J dunk on against the Lakers in that 79 series where Magic beats them. But I've said this before, is that very same move. I watched a dude from the 40s. He jumped from the same spot, and this dude only appeared to be 5'10", if that. He might have been shorter. This dude jumped from the same spot on the opposite baseline and hung in the air, and this dude was able to fully turn his body around and do it. But he did it well. No. He kind of half turned around. He put spin on the ball behind him, where Dr. J had the big hands and threw it up and spin it. This dude kind of threw it up behind him, but put the same spin on the ball. And I wish I could have recorded that. But and it's on YouTube, so I might have to rewatch some of this YouTube stuff and find it. But he did the same move. And so it took a little bit away from that move when I saw a shorter person do the exact same move, but still one of the greatest moves ever. Greg Oden is LeBron's dad. He's not old enough, Derek. Isn't LeBron older than Greg Oden? LeBron's older than Greg Oden. That's a good one, though. On Myers-Leonard situation. I talked about that, CJ. I'll talk about it again. Living in Miami. Like my son talks shit to everybody. His name for everybody is nigga. Nigga, I'm about to get you this, nigga, this, nigga, this. That's just how they talk. And when I heard Leonard say, call somebody a kite for flying, I was like, oh, okay. But that's just common talk. That's just common talk. Like, I guarantee if you see NBA players, they saying nigga this, nigga that, nigga, just when they play video games. That is just the culture of video games. You talk shit. And that's all he was doing. He was just talking shit. It wasn't like again, he's talking to a player. And I don't know if he knew the player. I doubt it. A lot of times you play with people, you don't know them. And so I think it was an overreaction. But again, it highlighted them and their plight. And then they get Chingy on there, and Chingy is their defender. Chingy is their defender. And Leonard is not only separated the team from we don't know when. Oh, did y'all catch Aldridge? Did y'all catch Aldridge left the team? Or they forced Aldridge to lead the team? Did y'all catch that? That they've been trying to trade him, and they did to him what was done to the big fella from Detroit that just might go to LA that was in Cleveland, and like they did to break Blake Griffin. They bought Blake Griffin out. But Aldridge is going to be leaving San Antonio, and he's going to be going somewhere unless the trade deadline. Hey, Gray, unless the trade deadline is over, which I don't think it is. So Aldridge will be a free agent. They're going to pay him off because remember, basketball, the money's guaranteed. So when guaranteed means it's in the bank already. You don't draw off your owner's salary, or you don't get checks from your owner. You get checks from your money that's already in the bank. That's what guaranteed means. So when you see these NFL players now getting guaranteed, that's what it means. It's a hassle because they have to throw all the money that's guaranteed already in the bank. It's like when they gave the quarterback here, Cousins, all that $80 million. They had to put that $80 million up. That means you release it. That's in their CPAs. You release the money. So it's there for the player. Now, they did make Barry Sanders, he had to return bonus money. It was the first time I'd ever heard that. The Lions sued Barry Sanders when he retired, and they made him give back 10 or 11 million, which I didn't think they could do that. But damn if he didn't have to give it back to him. And people wondered why Barry didn't dig them for a long time. It was because of that. It was because of that. You couldn't blame me. That Eagle player had to be punished by Ottoman for, and yeah, exactly. The Eagles player, yeah, punished by Ottoman for, oh yeah. I didn't catch that Aldridge. I forgot all about him. Yeah, Aldridge is not with the Spurs anymore. He must have said something to him. Eagle player had to be punished by Ottoman for anti-Semitic. And remember, the Eagles had Riley. Riley said, I'll jump over the fence and I'll whoop all you brothers' ass. Remember Riley? They didn't really do shit to him. Got to be smart. Yeah, you do. Nets should be waiting for Lamarcus. Yeah, yeah. And if he goes to the Lakers, I would rather have him than the big dude that played in Detroit and played with Cleveland. I'd rather have Aldridge because he's decent on defense, but unstoppable his turnaround jumper. So he's better than the Spaniard they have. He's a lot better player. Did you peep DeMar sacrifice his dad? DeMar. DeMar as in the cat that plays in Toronto? Didn't hear about that. Didn't hear about that one. DeMar. Now, you have to give me a last name. That doesn't ring a bell. DeMar. No, that one doesn't ring a bell. I'm going to be eating these. I still got a little bit of, my throat's a little dry too, guys. So please forgive me. Riley was off the hook. Yeah, Riley wanted to fight everybody. He was drunk. He's like, I'll fight all those niggers. Let me get over the fence. Yeah, he said he just woofing. He was just woofing. DeRozan. Okay. No, I didn't hear about DeRozan. His dad just died, huh? Wow. Not surprised. Was that today? Didn't see. Oh, okay. Here we go. So last month. Wow. Yeah. I mean, you got to pay. You have to pay. They don't care if you got old. They don't care if you won a championship or not. You got the fame. So whatever Lola wants, Lola gets. You got the fame. That's why Bedazzled shows you that that's poison. I mean, yeah, you make it, but it always showed you that it wasn't going to be perfect. So yes, it could give you all your dreams, but it wasn't perfect. Because a lot of us would think that all your dreams, everything would be perfect. Well, it showed how it wasn't perfect. Oh, made some money tonight. Guess that's why he went off. Well, he got 38, didn't he? A week ago. Well, yeah, I mean, 21st was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, 21st would have been 2 weeks ago. Wow. Yeah, didn't he get 38 tonight? I just saw this right now. See that he got 38 tonight? Yeah, he got 38 tonight in overtime. Yeah. I just viewed it here. I watched mostly hockey all night, and I watched the money all day because the money was picking up because of the stimulus thing. It was kind of interesting watching. It was like kind of as the vote was going on, you could see that the money was kind of, but soon as that vote passed, oh my goodness, the money started jumping up. And I was like, And the biggest thing is for anybody, just follow the dollars. The dollar ain't worth a dollar. That's why I've said this many times. That is why your dollar is not worth, that's why you can get dollar store stuff at 99 cents or stuff can be 99 cents because technically the dollar is not worth a dollar every day. They're going to always keep the yen above the dollar. They're going to always keep the pound above the dollar. Now, the euro stuff, they kind of knocked the euro stuff down. But the pound, you can bet it is going to stay above the dollar. So, what do you think? Still nice without Magnus? Do you think the Curry is still nice without Magnus? Well, I'll say this. Take away the magnets and let's see if he can shoot 80 games at 40%, 86 games at 40%. Now, don't just let him go to a gym to try to prove this. No, I want to see you play 80 games where we go in there and we monitor and make sure there's no magnets. You can put 24-second clocks on the floor. They ain't got to be up there. Because when I had 24-second clocks for a long time. Because when I bought into this league, that is all we was required. $100 and we had to buy the 24-second clocks. You can put them on the floor. Matter of fact, when they go bad, that's what they do. They go get the old ones out, the older, but you can put them on the floor. And that's where they were at first. They was on the floor. So you show me that he can do that over 80 games. Yeah, he ain't going to be able to do it. Now, I'm not saying the cat can't shoot. Like I was saying before, it was dudes that could score 20 points and nothing but hook shots. And they banking them off the hook, not just swishing. They're banking them off the hook. So I'm not saying guys can't score, but I'm saying guys have never been consistent for half court like you're seeing them. What is the odds of two teammates shooting from half court and both of them making the half court shots? What is the odds of that? One guy comes down and makes a half court shot, then another one comes and does it. What are the odds of that? Oh, somebody's doing laundry. I was like, what the hell is that noise? Sound like a truck. Somebody's doing laundry. Damn, they doing laundry late as hell. If I was downstairs, I'd be pissed they doing laundry this late. So, like I watched Isaiah Thomas come into a gym one time, and he scored 50 and a half. He didn't come, and I wasn't playing. I don't even think I was repping. I think I was just in Chicago watching a game. And he came into, it was a pickup. No, it wasn't pickup, it was a league. And Isaiah came in at the half, and Isaiah dropped 50 and a half. So, not saying dudes can't play, because dudes can play, but I'm saying the consistency in 86 games, no, you just can't do it. That's the only way I would disprove it. Again, don't see what they'll want to do is they'll say, okay, well, you fans can come in and check this rim, and we'll have these games, and you can see it's not controlled by magnets. That's not good enough. You show me where you can play a season like that, where every game we can send our people in, take them rims apart. We can test them with equipment to make sure there's no magnetics in them. Give us them balls. Let us take them balls apart, making sure there's no magnetics or any attraction in the balls. So you give us a random number of balls, we'll cut up so many to make sure that none of the balls you've given us have attraction to them. Let our scientists go through them. You let our mechanics, our engineers look at those rims. Then you play 80 games. And let our people, our crew, go to all these rims and make sure that all of them are taken apart. And we keep monitors. We keep monitors at every game. Now, I know that sounds expensive, but that's how, if you want to disprove something, that's how it can be disproved. And nothing less. We'll take nothing less. Here in OKC, 16 was legendary. I was watching Magnet game. Curry is the golden child. A three-point shot hit here in Coach C, and 16 was legendary. Yeah, it wouldn't have happened. Be fucking with their money, exactly. Ghana's three-point during those All-Star games is all you need. Oh, he can't shoot. That's the thing with him. He can't shoot. His jump shot was worse than Zion's in some ways. Zion at least had a push shot. He has a, like, when you see Charles Barkley, he can't just swing. He has that hitch in his swing. Ghana's shot is he has a hitch in it, and there's no way you can get rid of that hitch in his shot. It will never go away. That is muscle memory by now. And so Giannis will never have a natural looking shot. He's always going to have that hitch because that's just the way his muscle memory has put it together. So his three-point shots is ridiculous. In the same way they did with Zion. Zion shooting set shots and nobody's guarding it. I mean, that's just so funny how they won't guard him. This dude shoots set shots. But again, I think the coach at Duke started Zion shooting threes. Krzyzewski did try to make Zion shoot more threes because he knew what he was going to be facing. But the other people in high school, again, Zion went to the little schools in South Carolina. He played against the weakest competition. Now he did play AAU, but again, how many shot threes was he doing at AAU? You don't go into college shooting set shots when you're shooting a lot of AAU good shots. So they let him down. Mike Conley is underrated. Quick. I like Mike Conley Sr. The daddy was cool. The daddy trained Olden and Mike Conley Jr. And it's sad what happened to Olden. But Olden, a lot of big guys had them issues that Olden had. I thought when Olden went to the Heat, I thought he really had a chance. And obviously, it was still hurt. But Conley, solid point guard. I mean, a point guard in the pure sense, a point guard that looks to set up before score. Come on, 8-1 NBA basketball legit. I took one home. They'll fight you. You try to take one of them balls home. They will fight you. You won't get out the gym. You will not get out the gym. They will fight you. They will send the police on you if you try to take one of them balls home. You see, they give them the shoes and shit, but you don't see them tossing the balls. In the NFL, they always throwing the balls up there. Because remember, the game balls that they passing with ain't the kicking balls. They never give up them kicking balls. Now, let's notice this next season. If we ever see a kickoff, I don't even think the kickoff balls are the field goal balls either. Because, again, it's the danger of a dude running a field goal ball back for a touchdown and throwing it in the crowd. So I doubt that the kickoff balls are even the field goal balls. I doubt it because of that reason right there. If you run a kickoff back and you got one of them balls and somebody takes it apart, there you go. Hi, Lorenzo. Ryan, thank you for joining me. I can feel my voice is just very weak. But I'm getting better. I felt better. Oh, and let me tell you, it was 60 something yesterday. T-shirt on, sweats all day, beautiful. Got a lot of walking in. Sunroof down. Last couple days, again, 54. What is it? 54 Monday. Yesterday, 60 something. Beautiful weather. Right now it's 34 and it was damn snowing. We got a wind. This wind is, see, we had a tornado hit. I was really worried because we had a tornado hit not far and it was coming this direction. My son was sleeping. I'm like, you might have to get up because we got to go in the basement. We're going to go down and, because you don't want to be up top. Again, the tornado tear the shit off of upper rooms. I've watched it do that. But we have a side wind, 15 to 20 mile hour wind with gust up to 40. So we're getting that right now. And we went from 65 yesterday to 34 right now. It's cold. When I went out earlier, it's cold. And tomorrow, but again, the rest of today is supposed to be in the 40s. So how long I've been going? Oh, okay. Well, before I need to do the divinations. And we are at 13 platoons, 0 platoons, 8 tunes. We are at 6 Uno, and we should be at 2 kin. And talking about the wind, and one of my favorite things, and one of my favorite directions is Ik. And Ik is coming from the north. And Ik is spirit, breath, wind, cosmic energy, inspiration, vital principle, and respiratory system. Again, if you want to manifest from the north. And Iquato, which is a creator. In this current image, we see a medicine man devoted to the cult of Iquato, which we know because of the bird-like mask he is wearing. The bird's beak is a representation of the wind currents. The plum serpent is on his head tells us he is meditating on the constellation of the opposites, the meaning of the feathered serpent. In his skirt, we can see a single cycle signifying number 1, representing the ultimate oneness. He is sitting on a jaguar skin, which represents power and the capacity for the spiritual vision. Getting this card is a meaningful invitation to realize that you are always surrounded by the sacred presence of the Great Spirit. Iquato is everywhere all the time. Therefore, we always have the choice of being aware of that, of entering into the state of tenomia, the practice of accepting the divinity within yourself. Hanukkah, another thing. This is what the card is telling you to do. Make room in your life and in your heart for the Great Spirit. Give yourself the time and space to practice tenomia. Tenomia translates as having God within oneself and can be understood as a meditative state that leads to the experience of overcoming the false perception of our separation from the source. This is not a trivial topic. The separation from source is at the very basis of our constant state of fear and anguish about living in the ever-changing world. The fundamental experience of separateness sustains all our anguishes about separation, from the mother or the father, from the long shot, from the long lost partner, and so on. We can perceive a significant and extraordinary difference when our ego surrenders and our awareness is lifted to the pure understanding of our prenatal state of oneness with the Great Spirit. And I love nights like this with the wind blowing. Really great meditating. I really love to meditate during storms. There's a lot of good energy that's positive for you. And so wind storms, blizzards, I really can go deep during the blizzard. And so this year we had a couple light blizzards, but blizzards are another time where the energy is just really, really going. So that is something I enjoy as well. I have questions. We'll ask your questions. Here in OK, we hit 80. Okay, you hit 80, Derek? Wow. Yeah, I've heard about some other places that got warm. I know in Michigan they got warmer than we got. But yeah, I mean, what you have to understand is when we get 50s this time of year, you're seeing people with shorts. You're seeing people with shorts on in the 50s. And I know a lot of people think 50s, but up here in the 50s is shorts. I wear a t-shirt. I always wear 2 shirts, but I mean, I had to pull my tank tops up and hang them up because I had put them all up. Because in the summer I wear tank tops because I don't get how people can just wear shirts. One of my partners was working with my father, and they were dressing up every day. And my father's like, "You got to tell Earl to quit wearing dress shirts without t-shirts under them." I was like, "Are you kidding?" He's like, "No, I just don't know how you can do it. I cannot wear a shirt by itself. I have to have an undershirt on." And my mother would tell you, she trained me like that from a little boy. My boys are the same way. When we go out, we always have a couple shirts on. Win, do you think they're keeping Jimmy Carter alive for a ritual? It is not Jimmy Carter. That is JFK, baby. That is JFK. That is who they're keeping alive. And again, look at Rose Kennedy. Rose Kennedy lived to be about 106. Now, let's look it up. Maybe she wasn't quite that old. Let's look. How old was Rose Kennedy when she died? She was 104. She was 104. Ted wasn't as old. What did that make Ted? 30 to 09. He was about 80 some. But Shriver's mother lived to be 100, I think. So the Kennedys lived to be 100. So I've been thought that's Jimmy Carter. It's just all the evidence. That's how they do. They switch. That's why Jimmy Carter only got to 1 term. So that is my opinion, because his mother was named Lily Carter. Well, I don't think Lily Carter lived to be that old. How old was Lily Carter when she died? Yeah, that is one ugly woman. Oh my goodness. Ooh, that's a lot of ugly. Woo-wee. She was only 85. Woo. Oh. Whoa. Yeah, and see, that's that ugly. Now look at that. He don't look like her. He does not look like her. You put you put this Jimmy Carter face against JFK's face. And JFK wasn't that tall. Them mugs wasn't tall. They was 5'7". I know somebody's like, Jimmy Carter was so much shorter. Kennedy them wasn't tall. They was 5'7", 5'8". They wasn't no tall people. But Jimmy Carter, now she only lived to be 99. I don't know about his daddy. I'll tell you, and another thing is, That Lily Carter, look up her. She's like related to pilgrims. So I'm pretty sure that's why he was picked. That's why he was picked. Do you think they? So I think that's why they're keeping him around, because just that's how them Kennedys lived for a long time. And that explains it. Again, here we go, Billy Carter. Let's see if they show Billy Carter. Here we go. See how long Billy Carter lived. Shit, he didn't live that old either. Damn, let me see, 30, that's 3. Yeah, he wasn't that old at all. 53? Is that right? 37, 88? Yeah, I only think he lived to be 53. Yeah, he only lived to be 51. Let's do that again. Yeah, he didn't, so. Yeah, Billy Carter only lived to be 88, 81, 51. So they used to have some shit called Billy beer because he was drunk all the time. They gave him his own beer. So Barbara Bush was Aleister Crowley's daughter. Yeah, Ethan, I don't know if Barbara Bush was ugly as that woman. Oh my goodness. Woo! Let's visit Lily Carter again. Oh my goodness. That's a lot of ugly, boy. Woo, look at that. Look at the alligator face. Now you can tell she from them bloodlines. She is from them bloodlines, y'all. She is from them bloodlines. Look at her. Can't tell me she wasn't from them bloodlines. I don't know if Barbara Bush was ugly as this, though. Woo! This her smiling. I mean, it don't even get better with a smile. But you can tell she is from them bloodlines. Look her up. She is the bluest of blue blood. And those pictures show it, but so yeah, that's JFK. Yeah, Barbara Bush was never cute. She was, it was like Eleanor Roosevelt. You know, she looked like a donkey. I mean, she had donkey teeth up in there. Even when she was young, you know, she had them big donkey teeth. The good thing about having somebody like her around is you've always got a reliable can opener. But I know Red Fox used to make jokes of Eleanor Roosevelt. I mean, she looked okay as a younger woman, but when that chick hit 30, 40, oh my goodness, one of the ugliest women of all time. Now, I'm not saying all my women were the greatest, but all my children's mothers are all pretty in their own way. They're all pretty in their own way. Oh, that's funny. Oh, my voice is still really weak. I'll get it back. It's just draining the last couple of nights, blowing my nose all night. I couldn't figure what it was. And yeah, my daughter's mother was like, yeah, I've been having a sinus infection. I'm like, okay, that's what. Y'all done gave me that. How is it George Washington and Denzel are both from Mount Vernon? Money earning Mount Vernon. That's a good question. It's hard to say. Hard to say. Because we know that slave names, that's some bull crap. These names, a lot of these names was already here. What they would do, it's like we talk about in my family. George wasn't because of George Washington. George, my family goes back so far. They was calling our people George Sachems. Sachem, I think is the way you say them, the chief's name, Sachems. And they were giving them the names, and they was calling them Georges, meaning because these was the kings. And then, yeah, later they adapted to George Washington, but the original names, they would have been contemporaries of George Washington. So why would you name you have to remember in the 1780s, George Washington wasn't a hero yet. So we find in George Hampy's there was contemporaries to him. So how is it that when they was both little, somebody's like, well, there's going to be somebody named George Great one day. We're going to name you George. Nah, they was naming chiefs or chief children George. Or calling him George when they started dealing with him. So that stuff about your names, like I told my best friend, I'm like, yeah, your name, you're a Scott. You ain't necessarily got a slave, because he was saying that he found some slave plantation down there, but slavery, like, something stupid they was putting on Facebook. This is some stupid shit they put on Facebook. They was putting on Facebook that white supremacy, that Southern Europeans was tricked into supporting the South. It was like, you talking about winners telling their story. That is such a lie. These bankers of the North, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, these bankers from the North didn't have their hands in the South like they wanted. They didn't own these mass amount of lands. They was locked out of it. They had their own system in the South. That is what they wanted. That is why they caused the war. And that is why they used the federal government to try to get all these other northern states that the Southerners did not declare war on. Because think about if all the states was like, fuck you, they declared war against you. What was they going to do? What was Lincoln going to do if the states refused to send people? Which technically they should have. They should have refused. Each state in the North should have refused to support them. We'd be looking at a different country. Because at the end, that's why they popularized Lee. Lee purposely destroyed the Southern Army. When Lee became in charge, they lost. I think Johnston, who was in charge of the army before, got injured. And so they finally promoted Lee. Lee never won. Them early victories Lee wasn't the main general. Like you watch Gods in General when they go across Fredericksburg, and they make you think that Lee was head of the Virginia Army at that period, and he wouldn't have been. He wouldn't have been head of the army then. I've never met a European with the last name Washington. Exactly. Exactly. It's a lot of names in America. Tasha goes over that too. If you guys want to look that up, you watch Tasha from last year. Look up Tasha Z's channel. And she goes over, she does Maryland, maybe not Maryland, but she does Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina. She does Georgia. I don't know. Remember, she does Kentucky and Tennessee. But I know she does those eastern states. So if you're really interested to see if your name is possibly an old name from the Americas, look up Tasha's work. And you can find out. I guess her and Tasha, Gabriel, and Sister Phoenix, all of them are going to be somewhere. I don't remember where they say they're going to be, but I guess they're starting to travel again. So good for them. I don't knock anybody's hustle. Good for them. Don't knock anybody's hustle. So they got something going on. Right on for them. Right on for them. They have the means to take the message to the people. Well, somebody has to do it. Somebody has to try to wake people up and make you understand that a lot of history that we get is a total, a total fraud. History is not told the way it is. When they say that the winners tell history, that is absolutely true. That is absolutely true. Because it's so many falsehoods put upon us. And then I got a thing I copied. It says, we don't believe your words because I've watched your actions. So that's why we don't believe what you're telling me, because we watched your actions, and your actions show us that you always lie. Like now they want you to believe they're going to set some shit to Mars and then do the mocking the Sojourner. What would made her, I mean, what did Sojourner Truth do? What did she really do? You know what she's famous for? For giving a speech and pulling on her boobs. Because somebody in the crowd said, you ain't even a woman. So she whips them out And she says, does this look like a woman? That's not really a great way to tell, but that's what she's famous for. And she's a Seventh-day Adventist. That is why she was in Battle Creek. That is why she's buried in Battle Creek. And her house is, she still has family there. But what is she famous for? What is she famous for? She spoke against slavery. Well, a lot of people spoke against it, especially a lot of people. And what was slavery? What slavery did she speak against? And that's the thing isn't it funny when, like, if you get with a group of people and you start saying that a lot of Europeans were slaved, and they'll change the name of the slavery. They'll change the name of it. No, they were working off of debt. They weren't slaves. They were working off of debt. They were indentured. Not all of them, because the precedents that the first case of a brother had a slave, American Indian had a slave. The slave said, I've worked for you long enough. Our contract is over. The brother sued. And that was the first time you found a person slave for life. He was slave for life. So do you know how many these indentured they want? See, and that's how they don't want to tell you they slaved them people too. They don't want to tell you how they worked the Irish to death. They stole all their food. And then when the Irish rebounded and started having potatoes to survive on, they poisoned the potato crops in the whole country, forcing them into America. And what is gangs in New York showing? They getting off the boat, they sending them right down south. They getting off the boat, giving them uniforms. Every man coming off the boat, they giving them uniforms so they can go fight down south. They got No Grandma Killers tour going on. They've been in Atlanta and Dallas area. They're going to be in Philadelphia area next month. Okay. Yeah, I saw something of that. I couldn't remember. So in Dark City, the Stranger's machine world never had light. Brocky said she was not a woman. I'll get to that question too. If she had to go those links to prove she was a woman, then she wasn't. So in Dark City, the Stranger's machine world never had light. Yeah, I think when they left their world and when they came, I'm trying to remember the story. When they left their world was destroyed. And so when the tuners took over in the fractal world, it's just as much fractals as it was a machine. But yeah, and I think that is something like that. The artificial light comes in. The artificial light. Yeah, I'd have to watch it again to remember that little part. That's a good question, though. So when they were tuning, and that could be, they may have never had light, and instead, or the artificial light, or the prism light from the prism. Yep. Anthony Johnson, the first slave owner. Yeah, that's a good question, Derek. Well, all of them are good questions, though. Thank you, everybody. All the questions are good questions. Yeah, I think that was the tuning. I think the tuners didn't have light because when the ending scenes when they're down in their basement, they just had the artificial light, but they had to leave their planet for some reason and come here. So, and they're supposed to be the Jewish faith people is what the movie's making fun of. But I believe in Quantum of Consciousness, where he says that Dark City was the first one that goes into the Dark City should be the same as the Matrix. And so when they was talking of, like when Fishburne's character is talking about the one, he is talking about that one from the Dark City as being the first one. Because remember, he was able to tune. Because remember, they're like by the billboard, the big billboard, and he's able to tune. They try to hit him with the tuning. He hits him back, and he knocks him off the billboard or off the ladder part. Yep. But Dark City is a decent movie. I went to the movies to see it too. Didn't really know anything about it, and I saw that before I saw The Matrix. So that was always kind of I appreciated Dark City as well for getting that kind of message out and making you look sideways at all this stuff. Well, guys, I am going to cut it because throat is kind of killing me a little bit. Yeah, the tuners, I noticed every midnight they change reality. Yeah, and this was the first movie where they showed the fractals changing. They still use that kind. Inception used it later. Trying to think. Doctor Strange used it modernly, where they're showing you the fractals moving and how fractals can be moving patterns. Doctor Strange does the best of it because it shows you multiple fractals moving at one time. But they are the first to actually show you how fractals move to build some stuff. So that's what I dug about Dark City. It gave me that concept of moving fractals. So poor Mr. Hand. Yeah. Yeah, every midnight. And it shows you. The one thing they try to show you is like instant wealth. It's like you go to sleep poor and you wake up rich, and you've never known that you weren't rich. And that's the thing is, it's like if you won the lottery, it would be hard for you to even remember what it was like in some ways before you won the lottery. You would, like, say after a year of having all that money, and you would try to think how you felt before you had that money. It would be hard for you to relate to it. You really would have a hard time relating to how you felt. And the thing about it is, as the more and longer you have money, the more people that try to get money from you, your attitudes push you to be that person. Because again, you're going to look at it, why is people welching on me? If I gave this person, what would they do with the money? I mean, all these things would start playing on you, where my point is, you would be shifted into, you couldn't even relate to the you that didn't have money, because you couldn't remember how you even felt before you didn't have it. And that's kind of a natural kind of thing, but it happens. It happens. And with that kind of money, it happened very quickly. I know Bomber was talking about if you won the lottery, you couldn't even sleep. Like, say you won the lottery on Saturday, you couldn't turn the ticket in. You couldn't go to the, because when you win big money, you got to go to their main offices, the lottery offices. You can't go to, Holiday or Speedway and, give me my million. No, they go take you. You got to get all the contracts and all that. Do you want your money over 20 years, or do you want it all in a lump sum? Because we're going to hit you with a big slice. And then when you go back to your state, they're going to hit you with a big slice. And you're going to give the taxes of the feds. That's why I say lottery should be void of taxes. It's not a real lottery if you got to pay taxes. I think people should stop playing the lottery and make them do that. Lottery should be what it is. You should get the money tax-free. They shouldn't have their hands in your prize. And I would say people quit playing that shit until you make them do that. Say if there's anybody that should go on boycott the numbers so that the prizes are truly free prizes. Because how is it that if you win 300 million, you're going to get less than 200 million of that? How is that? I mean, yes, it's more than what you had, but if you look at it and look at the percentage of money you got to give up, it doesn't even make sense. And people, again, if you start from zero and you get 100 million big ones, I'm not throwing signs. I don't believe in that shit. Let me switch up a little bit. I had an appointment, and pretty much the doctor told me, I was impressed. The doctor told me, it's like, look, if you have surgery, it'll probably mess you up a little worse. Said it might help you. He told me, he said, you're an enigma. He said, I can't tell you why your leg hurts. He said, you have two veins that are side by side that never speak to each other. So we don't know. I can't tell you why your leg hurts. He said, but I'll tell you what, if you don't mind, like I'm sitting with my leg up. I have to sit on the couch sideways. He said, if you don't mind that, he said, I would not have surgery for this shit. And this is a surgeon telling me that. And so it just shows that you never know people that could be just on your side just a little bit. Now, again, this dude is sitting there like this, and he's throwing me all the Mason signs. And I'm just, again, we're covered with masks. So, we just look at my eyes. But everybody I talk to, I look straight in the eyes. And I'm looking at all the signs he's throwing, trying to feel me out. And I'm not blinking. I'm just checking him out. But it's just, I found that interesting. And it's funny how Because a lot of times they'll try to get that money. It's like when they tried to get me on my rotator cuff. I know that doctor, how much I was talking to somebody, how much money he would have made off that surgery. And I canceled it like 3 or 4 days before because again, I was a single father with 2 young boys and I got to cook and wash clothes. You know, who's gonna help me for one, and who's gonna cook for these children? You know how hard it is trying to cook with one hand. You just can't do it. You can't do it. So, and that doctor was pissed off because when I messed up my shoulder, he didn't come see me. He sent one of his assistants. He was pissed at me because he was probably looking at what bill, how much cheddar he's gonna make off my surgery and what he could do or what he could do there, what he could do here. So he was pissed at me. He called me and damn near cussed me out. Mark, you feel like that all the time. You have to give me context. I'm sorry. It's a little delay there. So, but what kind of surgery? Well, it's a knot in my leg, and they've done ultrasound. They did a MRI on it first, and then they did ultrasound on my thigh, like my thigh on the other side of my knee. Like if you look like you just touched your inner thigh and be about 2 digits from your knee, there's a knot in my inner thigh, and you can feel it, and it hurts when you touch it. So if I sit like this, now I've kind of got, I noticed if I have like my best friend has some furniture. He has a sectional, and it's kind of like the cushion is kind of rolled over, so it actually pushes my leg up. I need that. Now sitting here like this, I'm on a pillow. I'm on a cushion about this big, so it might not hurt. But if I'm sitting normally without an extra cushion, it feels like somebody is stabbing me in my leg. And if I sit like that for so long, when I go to walk, and it like takes a while for it to wear off, and it literally feels like a knife is in my leg. So, because like I was at my mom's and we was sitting, like she has a bar like table in one of the parts, and so I'm sitting there and I ate, and when I got done eating, it was another person there, and I didn't want to seem rude, but I was like trying to find out a way to get my leg, and I just couldn't do it. This was too uncomfortable, so I had to leave. And then my mother has another little table I can rest my leg on. So they was thinking they were thinking it's some kind of vein problem, and then they want me to go back in. They want me to go back in, and I got to have another MRI and another ultrasound. But he was just like, I don't know what's wrong with you. But that was cool. Instead of saying, and he was just like, yeah, I can open you up, but it's gonna make it worse. And that's what he said. He said, if you want to have surgery, it's gonna make it worse. So I'm like, hey, I'll be uncomfortable. It's okay. I'll figure it out. I'll figure out the way to be uncomfortable. So thigh, yeah, my thigh. It's like I'll be too low. But like right here. You can feel something in there. Like my chiropractor, he'll stretch me out, and I put a little friction on it, but my chiropractor stretched me, and that kind of helps. It got smaller, but it's like something about that big. It's at least that big, or where's my steel? It feels like it's this big. It feels like it's a lump that big in my leg when you touch it, and it hurts. Yeah, I thought I'd lost this too. It's copper. So, yep, but so my thigh, yeah, kind of my thigh, yep. So I was like, hey, and it's funny, I was wearing this hat and I have a shirt to match. Intermediate claudication. Joanna? Claudication. Okay, could be Joanna. That's not quite what he called it. He said I was enigma. He was like, I don't know what's wrong with your leg. That's what he told me. Doctor was throwing Masonic signs at you. Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. He definitely sat there. Yeah, I was catching it all. He threw me a couple. And I was just staring at him. Again, we wearing masks, so claudication. I'll look that up, Joanna. Thank you. But that's what he said. He said, I can't really tell you what's wrong with you. So they wanted me to do another ultrasound so they could look at my veins. But he said, because When I went in, he didn't even look at my ultrasound. He was like, "You took an ultrasound when?" And I had to go back and look at my date. And it's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, he said, excuse me." And I was really running on time to go pick up my daughter because I'd already been in there for a minute. And so I was like, "Oh my goodness." I'm like, "Let me control time for a few minutes." And it was fine. I ended up getting there. But I was like way in Burnsville, which is about 20 minutes away to drive way here in Park Lake. So nice little hump. But I got there plenty of time. Get there early, plenty of time to pick her up. Oh yeah, you. It's not funny to see doctors is all into that, and politicians they be all into that shit too. So, but thank you everyone. This is the Chocolate Mountain Show. Again, I'm going to change the format. I'm going to do 5 days and nights, and then I'm going to take every basically Monday and Tuesday night off, but I'm going to do shows in the afternoons. I'm going to do shows those afternoons. So I'm going to start going every day. So even though I'll get to sleep in a couple of days, I will still broadcast. And then there's some people I'll bring on. There's a couple of people I do want to bring on. So give you guests again. Savage 45 always throws up the spear diamonds in interviews. Watch most of them though. Watch most people. If you watch most people, they all throw up some signs. Now, I noticed Lady Gaga, she stopped doing that. But when she was younger, but a lot of these people that are established, they'll show their allegiance in another way. They don't necessarily are so blatant with the signs, but if you watch their movements, they're going to give a hello. Like now, look at most TV people in commercials. They're all like this in commercials. Why do you think? They have to show their allegiance. And so, on my other channel, I was always showing like, why are TV commercial people doing that? But they're thanking people for getting them that job. And showing that they're available for something in the future. So that's why you see them throwing it. I mean, go be around people. You can see Masons, and Masons will start hitting you with stuff. If Masons think you are with it, just be around men. And you'll start seeing men throwing signs at you. Y'all ain't never seen that? Y'all ain't really? Come on, guys. Y'all had to see that before. Just be out and about, and Masons will start throwing you signs to see. Like even cops. Cops will walk up on you. If they don't see it in the corner, a lot of Masons they got stickers there. So they already know. But cops will throw you signs. Just pay attention. Cops will do a lot of times with the belt, their hands in their belt. Like they'll have, because cops pretty much got to keep their hands like here. But a cop will start throwing you signs. Like a cop will hit you with signs like around here. Because they got their hands like here, and cops will start throwing you signs like this in his belt to see how you respond, to see if you respond or not. And I think he thought I was favored because, I noticed. And that's the thing they're looking for. They're looking to see if you notice. Now, keep that in mind. They are looking to see if you notice. A lot of times you don't have to flash it back, but they want to see if you notice. And he noticed, because I'm looking at him like this. He going to look away before I look away. Because everybody I talk to, I'm like, okay. And he was very thorough. That's what I liked about it. My uncle's a 33 and told me I know more than him. And I just studied the more science. There you go, Mark. There you go. Well, guys, I always end with Eshan. Half my cousins are. Okay. My my great uncle was a 33. My best friend's dad growing up, they went on trips every year. His mother was an Eastern Star. She was just as high as he was. And they went on trips every year to the Union or the Mason conventions. They was traveling all around. So I grew up knowing, I didn't know, but I'll say this, my best friend lived in the, European neighborhood for any other families. We end up moving over there. And now this whole neighborhood is nothing but melanated people. When it used to, when I met my friend in 7th grade, their family and my cousin's family was the only families there. And then we moved out there. I forget the Smith's family. And then my uncle had a house built kitty corner from where I grew up. Actually, my aunt's brother-in-law, which I guess be correct to say, but I still called him uncle because all her husband's brothers was my uncles as well. Extended family, how we do. Yeah, they get it just for business or get it to get off from the police. Yeah, a lot of them do that. That's why a lot of them put the stickers in the windows. And they're gonna get, same thing. You see the judges will throw you something, and they're looking for you to throw it back. Like watch when you go to court, even if you go with somebody or if you sit, watch the play between the lawyers and the judges. Now, magistrates you might not see, and if you get a woman up there, you might not necessarily see. But if you in a serious court in a serious case, watch the play before the watch all the signals of the lawyers and the judges and the prosecutors. And even if you got a free attorney or your attorney, just watch them all. Watch everything they do. Matter of fact, I almost bought this other book about parliamentary procedure because it just caught my attention. I read half the book, just sitting in half-price books, and it was interesting. I know Yosef L gets into a lot of that stuff, and that's what caught my attention because I was looking to see if they had any more Black Laws dictionaries because I got the 8th edition, which is, I can't believe how much this book has went up in a year. No, I have the 7th edition. I've got the 1st edition in the ebook, but I have the 7th actual edition. And it's just interesting. It's interesting. What year did Sister take over without being elected by the people? What year do Sister take over? Man, I'm thinking, my mother said quit saying dates, but I'm saying right now they put up a thing. And again, this is Fox. I watch the news and I watch MSN and Fox News almost all day. And Fox put up a thing on elected presidents and how long before they got in front of the people. Slow Joe is the 58 days is the longest. When he's supposed to face the nation, it is the longest of any incoming president. I can't remember who the second one was. I want to say it was Truman at 28 days. And that was because it was World War II. But the person before Joe to face the nation, Ronald Reagan was like 9-10 days. It was a couple people. Herbert Hoover was like 1 day. He was president. He faced the nation the next day, which back then, I don't know how the fuck he faced the nation, but he gave a speech to everybody that could hear it. Because I don't even know if radio was Hoover. Maybe there was radio. But 58 days. So I think Sister Girl, I would say this year. I wouldn't be surprised if Sister Girl is in there by this year. And then watch out when she gets in there. I think Sister Girl gonna take it this year. I really do. His daughter's Eastern Star. He said I saved his life when I told him don't go to the hospital when he had COVID. And then he's 81, his wife went and died. Wow, that's sad, Mark. That's real sad. That's real sad. That's why there's a lot of stories like that. They putting all that thing on Como and Big Gretch for sending sick people around old people. I mean, you can't tell me that wasn't a purposeful purge. Big Gretchen, they about to get that dude up there and the guy in California. See, these people don't like when they lose, so they find other victims. And so they're about to get Como's ass up out of there. They're going to get rid of that one out in California, and then Big Gretch ain't going to be far behind because they're going to try to get Big Gretch for doing what Como did. They're lying about the numbers. Yeah, 6 to 8 months. That's what I'm thinking, Joanna. I'm thinking the same thing. Yep, I'm thinking the same thing. It's going to be this year. It ain't going to be some years because, I mean, the guy just can't do it. I mean, they got him spitting and splatting on. He can't even read the prompters. Did anybody see the thing with Fauci and supposed to like the little elf had a mask on? I couldn't tell if that was done, but it tried to show Fauci like he was wearing a mask. Did anybody catch that? I thought if they did fake it, that was kind of clever, where it showed like a Fauci dude wearing a mask. But that's what if you see Joe all of a sudden being able to talk, he's masked up and it's somebody else. If he come out and he's able to read that shit perfect, we know it ain't him. So, but yeah, I think Joanne, it's not going to be the year. I don't think they're going to make it last through the year. And what they're going to do is they're going to keep his wife in the limelight. They're going to keep his wife in the limelight. Because remember, we've had times where if I know senators or congressmen lose, they would let their wives fill out their terms. What was somebody they just stopped? They just stopped the sister from doing it. Her husband died, and they didn't let her take his seat. She lost. when they had to run off or whatever. But a lot of times they'll let the spouses jump in them positions. The parties will back them and put them in them positions. So I see the wife as they're going to keep her around. So even if Joe go, they're going to keep her in some position. Oh yeah, I definitely got to go. So thank you, everybody. This has been the Chocolate Mountain Show. And as you all know, I always end with an Esham poem. So I'm not a New York rapper or LA gangbanger. I'm just an old school Detroit crack slinger. This has been the Chocolate Mountain Show. Thank you, everybody, for watching, old man. Till we meet again.